South African superstar Tyla has taken the world by storm. From her viral water dance challenge to winning a Grammy, she's put the Amapiano sound on the global map. But alongside her incredible rise, a complicated and often heated debate has erupted, one that touches on deep-seated issues within the Black community and beyond. Colorism and the complexities of Black identity. Is Tyla being unfairly targeted? Or is her branding a symptom of a much larger problem within the entertainment industry? Today, we're diving deep into the controversy surrounding Tyla, exploring the painful history of colorism and examining why this conversation is so much bigger than just one artist. To understand the present, we have to look at the past. Tyla hails from South Africa, a nation with a brutal history of apartheid. Under this system of institutionalized racial segregation, society was rigidly stratified. White people were at the top, and Black Africans were at the bottom. But in between, there was a legally defined category, colored. This group, to which Tyla's family belongs, is incredibly diverse, with mixed ancestry from European settlers, indigenous Khoisan and Bantu peoples, and slaves brought from Southeast Asia. During apartheid, the colored identity was used as a tool of division, creating a buffer group that was afforded slightly more privilege than Black Africans, but was still heavily oppressed compared to whites. This created complex social dynamics and internal hierarchies based on skin tone, hair texture, and proximity to whiteness. So when Tyla identifies as colored in a South African context, she's referencing this specific, historically and culturally significant identity. The problem arose when this term traveled outside of South Africa. In the United States, for example, the term colored has a very different, deeply painful history tied to the Jim Crow era and segregation. It's an archaic and offensive term. So, when Tyla used it in interviews, many in the diaspora, particularly Black Americans, felt it was a way of distancing herself from her Blackness. The controversy hit a fever pitch with a viral clip from an interview on The Breakfast Club. When asked if she identified as a Black woman, Tyla's team quickly intervened, shutting down the question. This moment was seen by many as a confirmation of their fears, that she was being deliberately marketed in a racially ambiguous way, or worse, that she was actively avoiding the Black label. So let's break down the two main sides of this debate. On one hand, you have those who are critical of Tyla and her team. They argue that in a global context, especially in the US market, where she's gaining immense popularity, she is phenotypically a light-skinned Black woman. By using the term colored or avoiding the Black label, she appears to be leveraging her lighter skin for mainstream appeal, a classic example of colorism at play. Colorism, the prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a darker skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group, has always been a powerful force in entertainment. Historically, lighter-skinned Black artists have often been deemed more palatable or marketable to white audiences. Critics see Tyla's branding as a continuation of this harmful legacy, where proximity to whiteness is presented as the standard of beauty and success. They feel that by not proudly claiming her blackness on a global stage, she's inadvertently reinforcing the idea that being just black is somehow less desirable. Furthermore, they point to the fact that she is profiting from a genre, Amapiano, that is fundamentally black South African music. To benefit from black culture while seemingly shying away from a black identity feels, to many, like a form of cultural appropriation or, at the very least, a deep contradiction. Now, let's look at the other side. The defense of Tyla. Her supporters argue that she is first and foremost a young South African woman navigating a global stage for the first time. She is being true to her specific cultural identity. In South Africa, colored is not a denial of African heritage. It is a distinct cultural and historical identity in itself. Forcing her to abandon that label and adopt an American-centric view of race is, in its own way, a form of cultural erasure. They argue that she is a victim of the music industry's machinery. It's often the labels and marketing teams, not the artists themselves, who make strategic decisions about branding. They might believe that a racially ambiguous image will have broader appeal, and they coach their artists to stick to that script. In this view, Tyla isn't the perpetrator of colorism. She's a product of a system that has always exploited it. The intervention by her team during the interview is seen as proof of this young artist being controlled by industry handlers. Her defenders also emphasize that identity is personal and complex. No one should be forced to label themselves in a way that doesn't feel authentic. By holding her accountable for centuries of systemic colorism, we are placing an unfair burden on a 22-year-old artist who is simply trying to share her culture and music with the world. She is a black woman, yes, but she is also colored. The two are not mutually exclusive in her context. The nuance is key. So where does this leave us? The Tyla controversy isn't really about Tyla herself. It's a flashpoint for a much-needed conversation. It reveals the lingering pain of colonialism and apartheid. It exposes the different ways blackness is understood and experienced across the diaspora. An identity that is clear in Johannesburg becomes complicated in New York or London. It also forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth about colorism within our own communities. We must ask ourselves why lighter-skinned artists are often given more grace and rocketed to stardom more quickly. This isn't about blaming Tyla, but about questioning the systems that create these dynamics in the first place. The music industry has a long history of profiting from black culture while marginalizing darker-skinned black artists, especially women. This situation highlights a clash between specific cultural identity and the broader Pan-Africanist view of global blackness. Is it possible to honor one's specific heritage, like being colored in South Africa, while also embracing a place within the global black family? I believe the answer is yes, but it requires education and empathy from all sides. We, as the audience, need to be more willing to learn about the nuances of different cultures. Not every Black person's experience is the same as the Black American experience, and that's okay. At the same time, artists and their teams who are entering the global market have a responsibility to understand the cultural sensitivities of the audiences they are trying to reach. A little education could have prevented much of this controversy. Ultimately, Tyla is a phenomenally talented artist, bringing a beautiful piece of South African culture to the world. It would be a shame if this controversy overshadowed her art. Perhaps the most productive way forward is to use this moment not to tear down a rising star, but to build bridges of understanding. We can celebrate Tyla's music while also having a critical and honest discussion about colorism, identity, and the powerful, diverse, and complex nature of Blackness around the world. Let's challenge the industry standards, not just the artists caught within them. What do you think? Is the criticism fair, or is it a misunderstanding of her cultural identity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation respectful and educational. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into culture and entertainment. We'll see you in the next one.